Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to thank the witnesses for being here today and the job you do every day down in what is becoming, I think, a more dangerous and volatile situation. Sheriff Deaver, it's good to see you again. The Secretary Napolitano said that the border has never been more secure. Do you agree with that assessment?
No, I don't, and I've told her that, just for the record, and as well as other leadership in CBP and in DHS. And I think the problem is that the inference secure means safe, and they're two different things. Now, as I mentioned earlier, there are places that you could say, yes, it's more secure, but to simply point to the deployment of unprecedented assets and defining security or an improved security in those terms, you know, adding ingredients to a recipe doesn't help if the recipe isn't right. And sometimes that's the case. For a long time, it was kind of a one-size-fits-all on the border. And recently, CBP has been very clear that what worked in Texas or works in Texas isn't working in Arizona. We're going to have to make some changes. And those changes are developing as we speak. They haven't come to fruition yet. So that needs to be recognized. But I don't think it's fair to the American people. And let me express as well, what happens on the border doesn't stay on the border. People coming through us are going everywhere USA. And the tentacles of these drug organizations and human smuggling organizations reach into communities in Alabama, in Mississippi, in Ohio, all over the nation. And so when we talk about, we suggest that border crime and reducing border crime suggests the border is more secure. Perhaps the border is maybe more secure in that location, but our nation is at great risk and growing more and more insecure because of the bad people who continue to come in here.
And that's an excellent point. I always make the point that the argument of spillover violence, I mean, I look at spillover crime. And the fact that after Agent Zapata was killed in cold blood in Mexico, met with Agent Avila, heard the story. But the fact that after that happened, our response was to sweep 450 cartel associates in the United States demonstrates to me that they are here. Their tentacles, as you mentioned, they're in the United States. Their distribution channels are here. And it's just a matter of time before that becomes spillover violence, in my estimate. Before I get to you, Mr. Lopez, Sheriff, one last question. You know, traditionally, they haven't been, these are old established families running these cartels. They become more rogue operations, as demonstrated by what happened to Agent Zapata. Have you noticed more threats to law enforcement on the U.S. side of the border?
Absolutely, and you know, the Mexican method of conducting business for years and years and years and years was to buy protection. Violence began to infiltrate and become part of the culture, really with the movement of cocaine into the Mexican smuggling corridors. And because their method of doing business was always threats, intimidation, murder, torture, and now the Mexican cartels have taken that up, and we see and hear of it all the time. And smugglers used to jump and run. Now they fight. Everybody that we run into is armed. And even the normal, just looking for work, illegal alien is becoming much more aggressive, more demanding versus asking for food, water, and shelter. They're demanding it, demanding work, at the risk of a serious injury to those who don't provide it.
So even though we have more resources, we do have more resources down there. I think we all agree with that. But the situation has become more dangerous, I think, and more violent. And Mr. Lopez, on that issue, I know that El Paso has been touted as the safest city. Do you know the statistics of violent crime from the past year and the year before?
I don't have those available. I can tell you that last year El Paso had a total of about, I'm going to say 5 murders compared to Juarez. So I can get you those statistics, but I don't have those with me right now, sir.
Do you foresee a situation where when you do have these drug cartels in the United States. Do you foresee a situation that could be similar to what's happening in Mexico down the road in terms of gang-on-gang violence?
Well, we do have, you're correct in saying that, we have cartel members, we know we have the assassins, the sicarios living on the United States border, and typically what they'll do is they'll go do their business in Mexico, and then they come across. And so, can it happen? Absolutely, and I think that's where the cooperation, especially on the intelligence side, between the federal and the locals is crucial. And as long as we cooperate, I think we'll be okay, sir.
I think you're right. In closing, I've been to EPIC many times, and I think that really helps El Paso.
It's an excellent.
I mean, that intelligence exchange that's going on between not only federal, state, and local in El Paso, but also with the trusted, if there is such a thing, trusted Mexican authorities that you can talk to and exchange intelligence. So,
yes,
with that, thank you so much. I yield back.